dream. I used to be afraid to dream, but not anymore. Why? Because no matter how bad the dreams get, when I wake up, it's always worse. Don't wake me from this dream. All I see terrifies me.
Hello and welcome everyone to the Face Your Ears podcast, and it's a special podcast. Today we celebrate our 50th episode on the podcast. I'm joined today with my good friend, Justin Repellent Hoshella.
Hello. Yes, Repellent, one of my favorite songs by Man Made Random, one of my favorite bands. And I also happen to be in, but yeah, wow, I can't believe it. 50 episodes. It feels like yesterday when this podcast was but a mere twinkle in our eye.
Oh yes. How we've grown.
Yes, I'm so grateful for the opportunity to do this, to talk about the things that we love and sometimes the things we don't love. So, it's been such a blast doing this. And so I'm excited for the future and everything that this podcast holds. So thank you so much for this journey, Rich. And thank you everyone for joining us in this journey of 50 episodes. This is quite a milestone for us.
I want to second that. Yes, Justin, I wouldn't have thought that this would have been such a great success when we were first brainstorming this. I think we were chilling in your basement and we're just like, hey, what if we did a podcast? And look at us now. Thank you for all the great conversations, and I look forward to more. Yes. So let's talk about what's new.
What's going on with you, Rich? Any updates?
I probably, by the time this episode airs, I think I will have another song out. Check it out. It's called Liberty Bells. It's under my project named Bozic. Also, I have been hard at work, and I know you have too, Justin, on an upcoming project that we are both in, thanks to our great friend, John Hildreth, called The Lovely Dark. We've been invited as guests into the Lovely Dark domain, and we have that gig we're prepping for in October.
Yes. And we'll be performing Repellent, which Rich mentioned at the top of the show.
Right.
So yeah, so excited about that. And I haven't practiced this much since undergrad, so it's been fun.
Oh yeah, live performance brings a whole new thing with all of this.
Yeah.
How about you? What's going on? Anything new happening?
Outside of the Radford University performance with Lovely Dark, I have a new song in the can that should be out either by the time this episode airs or shortly after. And it's a song with my project Same Not Same. So we have a new song that we are really happy with, and I'm excited for everybody to hear it. So it'll be out here before too long.
All right.
So yeah.
Excellent. Well, speaking of, I want to introduce why we are here today. Today's guests are the creative force behind Same Not Same, an electronic industrial project that proves great music doesn't have to be made in the same room. The duo consists of Jay Pavonis, known for his solo project, Doing the Devil's Work, and Justin Hoshella, the artist behind Man Made Random and also co-host on this podcast. Drawing inspiration from industrial and electronic pioneers like Nine Inch Nails, VNV Nation, Frontline Assembly, Depeche Mode, and Assemblage 23. Same Not Same combines driving electro rhythms, dark yet danceable synths, and modern production into a sound that's both familiar and distinctly their own. What makes the project especially unique is that every song is written, recorded, and produced 100% remotely, with Jay based in New Jersey and Justin in Michigan. Together, they've released a growing catalog of original music, along with reimagined covers of songs that inspired them to create, including music by Depeche Mode and Nine Inch Nails. Jay, Justin, I want to welcome you guys as a united force, Same Not Same, onto the Face Your Ears podcast. Welcome.
Yay!
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very
so
much.
much.
Thanks for having me on, guys. This is great.
Yeah.
Great opportunity.
Thanks for having us, Rich. This is so interesting. I'm now putting on a different hat, and I'm not a co-host, and I'm now a guest.
Yes, you're now a guest.
Yeah.
But I'm so glad that we're here as Same Not Same, and it's such an honor to be doing the 50th episode, which is a milestone. And I'm thrilled to be joined with Jay. So Jay, thank you so much again for being here.
Thank you, and congratulations, guys. That's a really great milestone. Keep up the great work.
Thank
Well,
you.
thank you. Yes, 50. Great. And hopefully 50 more to come.
That's it.
So, Jay, Justin mentioned this project on many episodes of previous podcasts. Can you tell us, how did it all come together, and tell us a bit about the music?
Yeah, so basically, like you mentioned earlier, doing the Devil's Work's my main project, and Justin had reached out to me on Instagram and offered to do a remix of one of my songs called Not Dead. And of course, I was like ecstatic. I was like, of course, with his Man-Made Random project that he does of his own. So he reached out and he remixed my song and sent me I was completely blown away, to be honest, with the version that he made of my song. I just couldn't believe how great of a job he did. And it just blew my mind. It kind of led us in the direction. I was like, why don't we just do a project together? You know what I mean? And create a whole new project. And I think I told Justin, like, you come up with the name, and kind of spearhead it. And him being the producer, because he does such a great job with production, is just like ecstatic over the work that he did. So that's how we started out. And in no time flat, we had Don't Die Alone was our first track that we did together. And I was completely floored I did a little bit of synth work on that track, and then I did my vocals. But then after that song, he kind of just took the helm, as far as doing the songs. And he sends me these great tracks. He gives me the freedom to just do my thing lyrically and to write the lyrics and come up with my ideas. And then it gets bounced back to him in Michigan, which is really cool. And he does his stuff in his studio and just blows my mind when his stuff comes back. The songs come back and I'm like, wow, dude, I just can't believe what a great job he does.
It's like magic, isn't it? So
it really
Justin, so how did you find Jay?
Jay mentioned that we found each other through Instagram, and that's true, but there's a little more to the story. So my brother Josh is in a band called Sleek Teeth. He's been on the podcast
We
before.
had him as a guest on this podcast.
Yeah, he's been on this podcast before. So I, of course, follow my brother's band, Sleek Teeth, on Instagram. And I kept seeing this name pop up, Doing the Devil's Work, like again and again, liking their post and commenting.
Fanboy.
Like fanning out on them. And I'm like, who is this Doing the Devil's Work? That's such an interesting, unique name. So I tapped on it and went down the rabbit hole and started to listen to Jay's music as Doing the Devil's Work. And that's where I came across Not Dead. And I was like, wow, this song is really great. This is cool. And I was so nervous to reach out to him because I'm like, man, I don't know. This guy is going to think I'm some kind of weirdo or whatever. But yeah, I reached out and the rest is history, like Jay said, and we just hit it off. And I think for us, the reason we've been so successful collaborating together is because we formed just such a fast friendship. Like that's been at the core of our music. We have a lot in common musically, of course, like musical tastes, but also like with film and things like that, pop culture, Star Wars, like all that kind of stuff. So yeah, we've just hit it off, and that energy gets put into the music for sure.
That's excellent. So industrial was what you guys jumped into right away.
Yeah, we love industrial music. I know for me, it's part of my DNA. I think, Jay, it's probably the same for you.
Yeah, totally. I mean, he said it. We had so many like bands that we were into. It was just crazy, the influences that we had, between the ones you mentioned earlier, Rich, like, the Frontline Assemblies and the VNV Nations and there's just so many bands. Imperative Reactions, one that Justin really loves, I know, and Covenant is another one that we share together that we really, and Depeche Mode, our love of Depeche Mode, and Nine Inch Nails, of course. I mean,
oh yeah,
who can go without those? And yeah, it just made it such a great team, from the rip. We were so on the same page musically. It was crazy. And I hadn't had a collaborator like this electronically ever in my whole career of music. I've done a lot of other hardcore bands and metal, metalcore bands and things. But this was always my passion, like electronic music and industrial music. And it wasn't until quite recently that it became so accessible and easy to create your own music at home.
Yeah.
And I am not a great producer by any means, but I've learned the cheat code, and just kind of figure things out on my own. really. And I started out with the Reaper program as my DAW, as my DAW, and then Justin got me into Logic Pro recently, and I just finished my first doing the Devil's Work track, Holy Ground, with the Logic, and I'm just loving it.
That's great. Now, I guess this is a great time to ask this. Was it weird that a random stranger reached out to you to collaborate?
No, not at all, because he had made comments earlier following my stuff, and just I think I posted a bunch of albums that I loved, and these albums like represent, and he commented on it. It's like, we just became friends. We don't even know each other, like we just fired off that way. So it was not weird the way he approached it, and he was so genuine and just. And I'm humble, it's not like I'm not this guru guy, doing this stuff. I'm just having fun, and I'm just happy that people were listening to my music and, getting some streams out there and meeting some people. And he offered to remix, and wasn't going to charge me, which is what a lot of us do, a lot of us independent artists, on that level.
Mm-hmm.
And he did such a phenomenal job. I was like, of course, try it out. That was my top track at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And it's actually been my top track the whole way, streaming wise and popularity wise. So, and he did such an amazing job. Like, it really took off, people really dug it. So
That's awesome. Yeah, I just had to ask, right? I mean, come on.
yeah.
But no, this is
Who's
great.
this weirdo?
yeah. I mean, I deal with this
like,
weirdo all the time, so I just wanted to see your perspective.
It was like a rare instance of social media working the way it was intended to.
Of course, yes.
Yeah, totally.
People
Yeah.
connecting
Old-fashioned
and becoming
connection.
friends.
That's
It's like
what
that
it
never
is.
happens on social
Exactly.
media now.
Let that be a note to the listeners. Don't
Yeah.
be shy if you see someone out there that you want to collaborate with.
That's
I
it.
mean, there's always that risk.
Yeah,
Yeah,
if
you'll
they
run into
turn out to
some-
be a jerk, then
Yeah.
who cares? Block them, move on. But most people are like really cool, and
And
they
now you
love
can
to
make a
hear
new
from
friend.
you.
It's a testament to the technology too. The fact that we have these tools, the Instagram, the social media, you're able to meet other bands and become fans of theirs and friends of theirs and collaborate and play shows together. And it's been a really good community, I have to admit, this whole industrial underground scene that I've come to, learn and know.
That's great. This is a great segue then. So a big part of your project is working remotely. Can you talk about that? Can you guys tell me and the audience a little bit about how you guys go about all this?
Yeah. One of the key ways that we collaborate together is through an app called Muse. And I think we've talked about Muse on this podcast before, but
Oh, yeah.
Muse is, for those that don't know, Muse is basically like Zoom, but for musicians. So it lets you share your computer screen so you can have a video chat while you're collaborating with the person, but you can also share your DAW, like Logic Pro or Cubase or Reaper or whatever, and the other person can hear what it is you're working on and playing and things like that. So that's a core component of how we work together remotely. Another thing for us that sort of developed organically is that each of us has our own lane. Like I really focus primarily on production and mixing and things like that, whereas Jay focuses primarily on lyrics and vocals and like those melodies and harmonies and stuff like that. And that's actually worked really well for us. And I would add to that, though, that we don't necessarily like rigidly stay in those lanes. Jay will challenge me to be like, hey, why don't you sing on this? Or why don't you write some lyrics? And I'll challenge him to be like, hey, man, you're so great at melodies. Come up with something like you did on Don't Die Alone. That is like some of my favorite melodies in our catalog. And Jay came up with those. It's a really cool project in that each of us feels really comfortable in our own lane, but we're also open to changing things up from time to time and switching lanes here and there.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, I think Muse has been a core of it. Jay will share notes from the iPhone with his lyrics, and we'll collaborate that way. Obviously, texting. Like, we just text constantly.
Yeah.
I'll throw a quick MP3 into a text chat and be like, hey, what do you think of this mix? And we'll do it that way more casually. But yeah, I think that today there's just so many tools that break down the walls and bring you closer with a collaborator than ever before.
Do you have anything to add to that, Jay?
The basis of what we do is really, we started out with a lot of bands like Frontline Assembly, that use a lot of samples, movie samples and things. So what we do is he loves using these movie samples like I do. So he'll get an idea like a sample and he'll throw it my way. and then he'll get a song going with the sample in there, and it just gives me such an easy avenue to kind of write my lyrics and get
I
a
was going to
grasp.
ask you about that
Yeah.
actually. So like when I listen to some of the stuff, I do notice that. I notice little bits of dialogue, little movie samples. How do you guys pick that stuff? You said it inspires your lyrics. Can you talk more about that?
Yeah, well, basically, we're so on the same page with it. We love the same movies, the same genres, the horror, the John Carpenter flicks, all the classic, horror movies and things. So he'll just incorporate samples into the tracks that he sends. And like I do kind of with doing the devil's work, I kind of do the same approach. It just helps me, give it direction, to the song, and it just is an inspiration, and basically it helps me, like, I'm almost like summarizing movies and things like that to just give me ideas. And he does a great job of just setting the mood. The samples kind of set the mood with the music that he creates, and the synths and the textures and the basses and everything. I've told him before, like, the songs write themselves. It's the craziest thing ever. The stuff he sends me, it's just so easy for me to create these melodies and get myself in the pocket,
I think for us, sci-fi and horror usually have more like socially conscious themes or deeply emotional themes that we draw upon. And I've drawn inspiration too from early industrial music. If you go back and listen to a lot of the early stuff from the 80s and 90s, it's just a common technique. Like Trent Reznor, for example, sampled the movie THX 1138, which was a George Lucas film. The album The Downward Spiral opens up with a very famous, prominent sample from that movie. He also sampled the movie Aliens and a song called Reptile on that same album. It's a very common practice in industrial music. And I think to Jay's point, it's spot on that it helps create the direction of the song. We'll watch a movie and some line of dialogue will come out and be like, whoa, that's really, really profound, or it really strikes us in some way. And sometimes we'll use the samples, and this is common too in industrial music. You'll use the sample, but ironically, you'll sort of subvert its meaning. And we did that in a song called Straight Line. There's a sample from the movie Lawnmower Man.
Yeah.
In the early
been a long
90s.
time. Wow.
Yeah. But I think the line is something like, this technology will free the mind of man, not enslave it. And it's like, in this day and age, when you look at AI, it feels like the opposite.
Yeah, exactly.
There you go again, bringing
and
up
so,
AI, Justin.
But that song, the song Straight Line is an anti-AI song. That's the idea behind it. And we also sampled a line from Tron, which is another, Jay's got a Tron arcade right behind him. And it's a movie both of us love. I think the line from that is something like, computers will start thinking and the people will stop. And so it's a
master control's taking over.
Like us commenting on that. So that's the idea behind how, like, the intersection of film and industrial music is films usually have a very strong theme or like point of view. And a lot of the lines of dialogue make that clear. And so I think what we do is we borrow from those or are inspired by those. And that leads me in a direction of like producing the music, and it leads Jay in like inspiration and lyrics and melodies for him and stuff like that. So yeah, that's the impetus behind it.
Well, I wanted to pivot to something else here. Since you guys work remote, I imagine it's difficult to do live shows, and that can provide a challenge. What are some of the other things that you guys are up to? Like, are there other outlets out there for you guys? How do you contribute your talent in other ways?
So Jay, I think you alluded to this earlier. There's a community of independent industrial musicians that we're plugged into via Instagram. And there's a sort of on a regular basis, a playlist that a friend of ours called Hex VHS puts out. It's called Now That's What I Call Industrial. A nod and a wink to, if you remember back in the 90s, they had a series of CDs called Now That's What I Call Country Music. And that's what I call alternative and whatever. It's just hilarious because you would never get an industrial one like that. So yeah, something Peter put together, and
it's great. He brought a lot of great artists together, and we've been on his compilations with Justin's Man-Made Random songs as well, and doing the Devil's Work, our other projects, which is cool. And our Same Not Same songs have been on there as well. So he's had so many volumes. I think he's up to volume 7 now, or 8 or something. Yeah,
but it's so cool because we get to become friends with other musicians that do this kind of music, which is a pretty niche genre. And it's fun to get to tap into all these different artists and hear what they're up to, and vice versa. They get to hear us. In terms of live music, Jay, do you want to talk a little bit about what our experiences have been like with Cleeftoberfest?
We actually played the festival there in Highland Park there.
Oh, yeah.
The Cleeftoberfest was a great opportunity that you gave us a chance to come out and play. You let us play 3 songs.
Can I just interject real quick?
Yeah, go for it.
So this has been glossed over, but the craziest part of the story, I think, from when we met and so forth, is that, Jay, you lived like 10 minutes from Rich.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah. So, you're talking about Cleeftoberfest in
world.
Highland Park. And it's occurred to me like, oh, Jay, you live like right down the road from there. So it's
crazy.
hilarious. So it just worked out so beautifully for us to play.
Yep. Small world. Yeah.
Well, and you guys are playing again this year in September. Yes.
Got music in your head, but don't know how to get it out of your speakers? Want to go from this to this? I'm Justin Hoshella, music producer, educator, and creator of Logic Pro Launchpad from setup to song. If you've ever opened Logic Pro and thought, where do I even begin? You're not alone. I created this course for people who are brand new to recording and music production. People with ideas in their heads, but no clear path to turning those ideas into finished songs. Inside this self-paced course, I'll guide you step by step through Logic Pro, from setting up your software and understanding the interface to recording, editing, mixing, and even mastering your music. No confusing jargon, no prior experience required. And by the end of the course, you won't just know your way around Logic Pro, you'll have completed your very own song from start to finish. So, if you're ready to stop feeling overwhelmed and start making music with confidence, I'd love to help you get there. Visit logicprolaunchpad.com and start your journey today.
We're excited. I can't wait to see all your new songs, Rich, as well. Your solo songs and the lovely Dark. I'm excited for that.
Oh, yeah.
You guys are going to be performing with John as well, right? His
songs.
John
is coming over, yeah, and we're going to be doing
awesome.
that. Mm-hmm.
Very exciting. I can't wait to see all those songs you guys put together. That's awesome.
I look forward to having you guys as a guest on Cleeftoberfest. It's going to be great.
We can't wait.
So what do you want people to take away from your art and music? Can I start with you, Jay?
I like for people to relate to my lyrics and things like, if they can get something out of it positive. I think we have a lot of positive messages in our songs, Don't Die Alone is pretty much for people who are in a really dark place and despair, not to go down that dark road that some people choose to do. There's hope out there, that you can really turn things around. So we like to, and Let Go to Live is another one that's really upbeat and positive. I just want people to get something positive out of our music and enjoy, dance to it. I mean, there's a lot of dancey tracks and right. We got some bangers there, right, Justin? So,
oh yeah.
If anything else, I just think it's great to leave a legacy too. And I think, the fact that we're putting our music out on streaming services means, our music's going to be there hopefully forever. You know what I mean? So that's a great thing.
What I would add is that we do this because we love doing it. We don't make any money doing this. This is really, truly a labor of love. We love this kind of music and we enjoy it so much. And for me personally, what means the world to me is when somebody listens to the music and they love it just as much as we do. And that's really it. I think that's the whole point of creating music, is to enjoy it with other people.
Yep.
And that's what I hope to create in this world, is music that other people are drawn to and they enjoy it. And as long as we keep loving it, we're going to keep sharing it, and hopefully it finds those people that love it too.
And to add to that, Justin, we've had DJs, play our songs, on their pod, on their shows, on their live stream shows. And I think even in some clubs, that Ghost Bomb, I think, played us in a club up in Ohio, if I'm not mistaken. And our Don't Wake Me track, and another DJ operator, this guy from Arkansas, he played our songs on his radio station too as well. So they're the best. The DJs are the best supporters of what we do, and they really get the songs out there to other people. I would like to take this opportunity to thank them, and people who follow us and put us on their playlists. You know what I mean? People reach out and tag you on Instagram and say, added you to my playlist. Those people, we couldn't do it. That's what we do it for, for people who enjoy, like Justin said.
Of course, it's great to connect with people who are
Yes,
into what
totally.
you're doing. And we're going to link to all of these things as much as we can with these DJs and actually your guys' stuff. We're going to try to link to all of this in the description here so people could find some of these other channels to hear more new industrial music and music that you guys have been putting out. As we do on the Face Your Ears podcast, when we have guests, we have a lightning round. So I'm going to ask you guys a series of questions, and please, concise answers. All right. Well, let's start with question number 1. I'll throw you a softball. Your favorite industrial album?
Justin, you want to go first?
I will. I was struggling with this earlier because it feels like it changes.
It's hard. I know.
Right? Like it changes over time. What I will say is right now, my favorite industrial, like true industrial album is Too Dark Park by Skinny Puppy.
Nice.
So it's just a seminal like album of theirs. It's such a like icon in industrial music. So Too Dark Park, it's really dark, hence the name. And it's got a lot of weird sounds in it, but it's also got a lot of cool, catchy like hooks and melodies in there and stuff. So I love Too Dark Park by
That's
Skinny
awesome.
Puppy.
Mine's going to be Frontline Assembly Tactical Neural Implant, because for me, when I got into industrial, was my first segue was Nine Inch Nails, of course, and before that, even Ministry. Actually, I heard before Nine Inch Nails, and so like Ministry and Nine Inch Nails, and then led me down the rabbit hole. I got into, like Justin said, Skinny Puppy, but Frontline Assembly for me, there was something about that band that like the use of samples, from movies and things, and just their dark, synth textures and basses, and Reese Fulber and Bill Lee was actually in Skinny Puppy, the singer. So early on, so that album for me is just right there.
Excellent. Well, this kind of works for the next question. I wonder if it'll be the same. We'll find out. So industrial is a niche genre. What album would you recommend to someone to turn them on to it?
I think it's the album that turned me on to industrial music, and it's Frontline Assembly, but it's the album Hardwired. So when I was in high school, I heard that album for the first time, and it was like this shift, this like lightning bolt moment, because it was like nothing I'd ever really heard before. I, of course, had listened to Nine Inch Nails. I was a big fan of The Cure, Depeche Mode, that kind of thing. But Hardwired by Frontline Assembly introduced me to a lot of the common sort of devices you'll hear in industrial music, like really dark synths instead of like heavy metal guitars. They almost do that sort of sound with like synthesizers, a lot of dance beats, a lot of samples from like movies and stuff like that. And it's just really catchy and dark, and I absolutely love it. So I think for me, because that album turned me on to like hardcore industrial music, I would say Hardwired by Frontline Assembly, and I believe Hardwired came out in 1995.
I think you're right here.
Let's see if I'm correct. But yeah, it was 1995. So I remember hearing it for the first time in like maybe 96 or 97, shortly after it had come out, and I was just blown away. So I would direct somebody to that, because to me, I listened to that today. I was actually listening to it earlier, and I'm like, you just for in preparation for this episode.
Oh,
and
you happen to be listening to.
I just happened to, probably wouldn't be surprised, but I listened to it again today and I was like, man, this thing still holds up. Like it doesn't sound dated or anything like that. It's just awesome.
I think Millennium is another phenomenal album by them. It's just by Frontline Assembly. That's a great album.
So what's the gateway album? How are you going to get me into industrial? Convince me, Jay.
For me, I like, you mentioned Assemblage 23 earlier on. That's one of my all-time favorite groups. Tom Shear's just amazing. Like I first heard the song Let the Wind Erase Me on like a compilation years ago, and I think it was on Metropolis Records, if I'm not mistaken, but they used to put out the comps, with all the bands that were on the label and stuff, and I heard that song and I was just like, it was just amazing to me. His melodies, and just, they were considered like future pop, which is kind of like the stuff that Justin and I really gravitate towards, like the Covenant, and VNV Nation is another amazing band. That Matter and Form, that album is another gateway album, I think, for people that really want to get into the stuff.
Let me ask you the next question here. What synth or plugin are you reaching for a lot these days?
Justin, you want to start that one too, or
Yeah, I might be stealing yours. I don't know, but
that's fine.
I have really been loving the JP8000. It's a Arturia plugin. So Arturia is one of my favorite plugin companies, but it's an emulation of the Roland JP8000 from the 90s, and it's just such an iconic synth, and it's fairly recent that they came out with an emulation of it, but it's fantastic. And I used it quite a bit on our song Don't Wake Me, which is actually the song we heard at the beginning of the podcast. I found myself reaching for it a lot on our cover of Higher Love by Depeche Mode. The Arturia JP8000 is amazing.
How about you, Jay?
I really reach for the G Sonique makes this Renegade synth. It's pretty good. It's got a lot of great basses in it and some really nice lead sounds for, lead synth sounds, which are great. And another one I used quite a bit was just Hybrid 3 from Air Music Technology or something. That was a really great synth that I got into, software synth, and it had so many great sequences and, ways to, manipulate the sequences, and just, it's a really great plugin. And also another one that Justin actually, I turned him onto is the Thorn from DS Audio. That's a great synth. It's really cheap to purchase. I like a lot of cheap synths. I don't like to pay, over $50 for them. So those were all kind of, cheaper.
Thorn is amazing too. I didn't even remember that. We use it all the time in Same Not Same. But if you want to start making industrial music, just get Thorn.
Yeah, for real.
It's just like the perfect industrial synthesizer.
It really is. It's great.
What is your favorite John Carpenter movie and why?
Wow.
Oh, God, this is so hard. I feel like this is another one that changes depending on the time of year or something, but I would have to go with They Live. I love that movie.
That's a funny movie.
All right.
It's just it's so intentionally campy and just ridiculous, but it has such a poignant social message behind it. And I just love that John Carpenter did the music for it. I love that the wrestler Roddy Piper was in it, and he was just so bad he was good. I don't.
He came here to chew bubblegum and kick ass, and I'm all out of bubblegum.
Yeah, that's the
So
one.
we all
That's a
love
great
that
quote.
one.
Iconic, yeah.
Now that goes in, and that needs to go into a Same Not Same song.
For real.
I do
I
believe.
know,
For real.
it does. But I love that movie. I it's such a great example of how these horror and sci-fi films have a very clear sort of social commentary behind them, and I think that's a big part of what we do and how we create. So I would go with They Live for right now, but it's usually between They Live and The Thing.
Yes.
So right now it's They Live.
Mm-hmm.
Mine is actually Prince of Darkness. That's like one of my
It's
favorite
a deep
ones.
cut. That's a John Carpenter deep cut.
Yeah, like it's just, Donald Pleasance and like the whole Brotherhood of Sleep, like the priests that are watching over this, evil that's inside this vat, and then all these scientists come and they like investigate.
Did you ever sample that?
And I did. I used it for my song Sleep. I used the
That's right.
yeah, I used that one, and I used a couple samples from that actually.
I don't think we've ever sampled John Carpenter films for Same Not Same.
No, I don't think we did either. Yeah,
Is The Fog?
This
a
Is
John
Not a
Carpenter
Dream.
movie?
Yeah, that's a great
The
one.
Fog,
Yep.
that's another great one.
Okay.
Yeah, I
It's been a
sampled
long
This Is
time.
Not a Dream. This Is Not a Dream. I sampled that, and then I forget what the other one was. But yeah, sampled.
Great answers, guys.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this: if you could erase your memory of a single song so you could hear it all over again for the first time, what would it be?
Head Like a Hole.
Okay.
9 Inch
That's a
Nails.
great song.
Easily.
Okay.
Like that one, if I could erase because I've been listening to that since I swear I was like 9.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah.
like it, and I remember the effect it had on me, and man, just to have that experience again,
Oh, yeah.
would be amazing. So
I
Head Like
remember
a Hole.
where I was when I heard that song the first time. Yeah.
Nice.
That's a tough one, but like, there's one song that I really love and like really gets me kind of emotional. It's V&V Nation Perpetual. Like it's a great track, and just you know, Let There Be, Let There Always Be, Never Ending Light. That song gets me every time I hear it. Like to this day, like I heard it years ago when it first came out. That's one of my favorite.
What's a band that you missed seeing live that you wish you could see live?
I got AC/DC. I have not seen them, and I'm really upset about that. And some of them have died,
Especially in their prime, like when back in Black and all that. Oh, man,
Exactly.
it's like Yeah.
I know. It's like I feel like I missed my window. But I just heard it was Shannon Guns talking on like what Ozzy's Boy saying that how great they were live just recently. So I mean, I could still fulfill my dream. But that's it for me, I think.
They're not an industrial band, but one band that I wish I could have seen live once upon a time is a band called Cocteau Twins.
Oh,
yeah, they're
And
great, yeah.
love the
they're
Cocteau Twins.
amazing. They're such an incredible band. I guess you would categorize them as what, like shoegaze kind
Yeah.
of.
Yeah, I would think so. Yeah.
And
Dream
Elizabeth
pop or
Fraser,
something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Elizabeth Fraser is one of the most beautiful voices
Oh, she's
ever.
top shelf.
Amazing.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, that band I would absolutely love to see live, and it's never going to happen now, but I wish I could have seen them.
That's a good one. And I guess I have to throw one in. I've seen this band many times, but I would have loved to see Manowar during the Triumph of Steel era.
Okay.
Oh,
Just like
yes.
that album during that tour. But anyways, just
That's
throwing
like
my-
peak.
Yep. Yeah. No.
That's like peak
that's it,
metal
man.
right there.
Can you pitch a new artist or band that you feel is overlooked, or something that you're just really into that's new?
I mentioned this artist before, and I might cheat and mention two, but our friend Peter, who goes by Hex VHS, I adore his music. I love it. It's this really incredible blend of like metal and like grunge. And I listen to it over and over again. And it's got these amazing like blast furnace guitars and
Oh,
drums and vocals, but it's just sometimes has this catchy kind of grunge song structure to it. So I know he's a big fan of bands like Smashing Pumpkins and Nirvana and stuff, but he also loves heavy metal and industrial and stuff. So Hex VHS, I adore that music. And then another artist by the name of Schluck, who's on a different part of the industrial sort of spectrum. Hex VHS is more in the metal camp, whereas Schluck is more in the ethereal industrial electronic realm, and his production skills are phenomenal, and I absolutely love
Yeah, he's
listening to him. So I cheated and put two, but they're part of the community Jay and I are connected with, and I think their stuff is amazing, and I would definitely recommend them.
Oh yeah. A friend of mine, Brian from Richmond, Virginia area, Severed Skies, his project. He's really great, man. He's into a lot of stuff that we're into also, and the Velvet Acid Christ, and just a lot of Skinny Puppy. He's a big Skinny Puppy fan, but his music's just great. It's very like dreamy, like medieval. Like he has like a lot of these great lyrics that he writes and everything. And he's become a good friend, and I want to hopefully play a show down his way sometime. He's really great. And he's been on the compilations as well. I think he's been on at least once or twice. But yeah, Severed Skies. And Circuit Preacher's another band that I listen to. This Tyler, also from the Richmond area. But he's gotten really popular. Like, he's playing a lot of shows around. But I've been following him like from the beginning kind of. And he's just great. Such a nice guy, down to earth. I've had a lot of good conversations with him at shows. And I've seen him, like I said, a couple times, different places, and love to play shows with both of those guys, sometime.
I love those bands too.
We'll have to link all of them and spread the word. That's fantastic.
Totally.
Yeah.
Outside of the industrial genre, who is one of your biggest influences?
The Cure was probably the biggest influence for me outside of industrial music. I think Robert Smith from The Cure basically taught me how to play guitar. So I draw a lot of influence from them. So The Cure for sure.
Excellent. Jay?
I'm going to have to say Depeche Mode. They're, more like synth pop band, I guess, but my all-time favorite band, and I've seen them live many times, and Martin Gore, like that's kind of how I learned how to sing, really singing Depeche Mode. Like I sang the song Somebody in a talent show in my high school, my junior year, and I won the talent show. I actually beat a band out. I had my friend play piano for me, and we practiced a couple times, and we did the song, and we won the talent show. That was a pretty a stepping stone moment for me. It kind of got me out of my shell, to perform and stuff. And so I'd have to say Depeche Mode, Deftones, Tool. I mean, as far as, the heavier bands go, and Quicksand is another band that was a huge
I've seen them
influence.
ones live years back. Yeah.
Yeah, they're great. Like Walter, from Gorilla Biscuits and everything. I was in a lot of hardcore bands, so, it was a big influence for me back in the day.
And this reminds me of like why we called our band what we did, Same Not Same, because Jay and I are the same, but we're not. Like, so It's a play on that. You're talking about all these bands I love, like Tool
Yep.
and so forth. And I'm
Yep.
like, that reminded me. I'm like,
Oh, yeah.
that's why we're called Same Not Same.
Oh yeah, exactly.
And we'll actually say that to each other when we're talking about something or whatever, like a new movie comes out. We're like, I love this movie. Me too. Same Not Same.
It's almost like a jinx. Yeah, it's
yeah,
same,
it's
not
like,
same.
it's almost like a joke where it's
Yep.
like, we have so much in common, and then somebody will bring something up and turns out the other person loves it too. And so yeah, it just made sense for us to call our band that, because we seemed like the same person, but we're not.
So, guys, where can we find your stuff?
Everywhere. So wherever you stream music, you can find Same Not Same. So Apple Music, Spotify, YouTube Music, anywhere where you find your music. We've also got a YouTube channel with a handful of lyric videos and things like that you can check out as well. And so wherever you stream stuff, you can find Same Not Same.
We are out there in the ether.
Thank you, guys. Today, we were joined by Same Not Same, Justin Hoshella and Jay Pavonis. Thank you guys so much for coming and talking about your project and introducing us to what you guys do.
Thanks so much for having us on, Rich. I appreciate you guys.
Yes, thank
Great
you so
time.
much.
Yep.
This was so fun to do.
Thank you, guys, and thank you, everyone, for listening. This closes out the 50th episode of the Face Your Ears podcast. Take care now.
Congratulations, boys.
Bye.
Dream.